All right, time for a weekly forecast. Here we go. We're going to start off with the S&P 500. We're going to look at both the futures and ETF of the S&P 500. Let's start off with the futures monthly chart. We can see that in the upper left-hand corner. Right now we have a downtrend. We've had a downtrend for a while. This is still a bearish market, and I would anticipate it continues to be bearish until we start to see some more significant bullish evidence on first the daily and then the weekly charts. And that's most likely going to happen somewhere down in that 32 to 3400 area of support and demand down there. On the SPY, the S&P 500 ETF, same exact concept. We're still bearish, and I would expect to see at least a fairly sizable strong rally around that 320 area. If not, then it would come around the 280, 290 to 300 area below it. On the weekly charts, on the S&P 500 futures and the SPY, they are both range bound, meaning there's support below and resistance above. And overall, it still is bearish. But right now, we start to see a little bit more of a neutral stance here, even though we still have some lower lows going on and some lower highs on this. It is a little bit more balanced, still bearish overall. Let's just say it's not as a strong of a bear as it was for pretty much all of last year. As far as the weekly chart goes, the only plays on this that I would consider is if price does rally up into that resistance area, I'd be looking for some short-term shorting opportunities, or if it drops down into the support area, I'd be looking for a short-term buy. I say short-term because, again, we're still in that overall bearish sentiment. Short-term would be a short-term swing trade, anywhere from 3 to 5 days, somewhere in that range. On the daily chart, what we're seeing here is that box or rectangle pattern. Price has been going sideways for quite some time, many days now. It's just really floating along sideways, no commitment one way or the other. Now, I would expect this to break out of this box very soon, either up or down. That nobody knows. I would say probably it would break to the upside, at least short term anyway. So we can expect to see some potential buy setups, either a breakout or a pullback after it breaks out. But I don't really consider that a great trade right now, mainly because, again, weekly chart's neutral, monthly chart's bearish. So I would prefer to wait for a more clear and compelling trade setup. As far as any short-term traders out there, you may get a breakout one direction or the other. So you can anticipate that type of movement coming up next week. All right, let's take a look at the NASDAQ market next. Same concept here. Futures markets are on top. ETFs are on bottom. So for the futures, we're looking at the monthly chart on the top left. And again, also a bearish trend and bearish sentiment, same as the S&P. It is in an area of support or demand, not a great one. I put moderately bullish. It's not really strong, but not terribly weak either. It's just kind of so-so. Wouldn't expect a whole lot in this in the long term. This is really more of a short-term buy setup. Same thing on the ETF, QQQ. Same bearish trend and sentiment, moderately bullish location. We might see a little bit of a rally for the next week or two here. I wouldn't expect a whole lot out of this until we start to see some more strong bullish evidence. So I'm not putting a whole lot of faith in that support area for the bulls. On the weekly chart, pretty clear downtrend and bearish on both the futures and the ETF. And we have two different resistance areas above price right now. And so either one of them could work out quite well for a short setup. On the daily chart, the only play I really see on this right now is a possible buy setup coming out of that support area. And I put in there most likely a rally from this area. And that's just, again, we're talking probabilities here as traders. Yeah, it could go lower. Of course it could. It could go sideways, could go a rally upward. Most likely it's going to rally from that support area. That's just typically what happens when price goes in support. I don't really expect a whole lot out of this rally though. This is really more of a short term, maybe 3, 5, 7 day type of rally up into that resistance supply area, and then I'd expect price to drop fairly well from there. So it could be a nice little shorting opportunity when price gets up to that 290 to 300 area. And same thing on the futures market, most likely a rally. Again, fairly short term is my anticipation. Once we get to that 12,000 area, I start to see the buying really start to slow down and the selling start to really pick up and get more aggressive. So start looking for some shorting opportunities up in that 12,000 to 12,250 area in the NASDAQ futures. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the market forecast and analysis. Good trading, everybody.